Come on, man.
It's... It's...
Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday!
Why, yes, it is. Welcome to the morning show, SDH AM. John here, you there. It's the standard packed informational start to the weekend. Remember, Atlanta United, they've got Chattanooga FC. It's going to be on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. 3 o'clock, not much of a pregame with Mike and Jason. Maddie and I will be there. Sophia Cupertino will be there. We will let you know what's going on from all of the different perspectives, and we will get you through match day one. Even if it's preseason, it's still match day one. So we will get you through that. Then we'll have all of the post game on the full-time report there at 92.9 The Game, the Odyssey app, SDH Network, all your platforms will be up there for that tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing everybody as we go. Speaking of which, in no less than 10 minutes, we catch up with Chris Nugent, the head coach for Chattanooga FC. Caught up with him yesterday because they're getting ready for practice now. And I guess this is their last walkthrough before they get ready for Atlanta United. So we caught up with Chris Nugent. Thanks to Hayes Creech and everybody up at CFC. Caught up with Chris Nugent yesterday. So we're going to play that interview for you coming up at about 9:15. Then we'll get you ready for the weekend if our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring can be here for the Friday Free Kick because it's somebody's birthday. Not mine, mind you, but one of the two individuals that's tied to Beyond Goals. It's his birthday. I think it's today. It was either yesterday or today. But one of the folks at Beyond Goals is having a birthday. And so if they're globetrotting and celebrating birthdays, it's completely understandable because we got stuff to talk about. You'll hear from Garth Lagerway as the window in Europe is now down to 10 days. So you'll hear from Garth Lagerway as we get you ready for what's going on with Atlanta United, courtesy of the Andy and Randy show yesterday at 92.9 The Game. You can listen to that on the Off the Woodwork section of the podcast element at 92.9thegame.com. You can also hear interviews from Dukes and Bell yesterday with Ronnie Dyla and with Brad Gazan. So we'll catch you up with Garth Lagerway and his conversation. Question was asked about players and player pursuits. And so we're going to hear from Garth Lagerway from that interview yesterday about that. All right, opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Good morning, everybody who is in here early. Alex and Derek and Ricky, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock Eastern is the match time at Fort Finley if you're going. So I would leave perimeter about noon because remember, when you get to the 24-75 split, things get a little crazy. Construction always seems to be going on, and remember that if you're going 24 east, you got to get in the left-hand lanes because it's a weird crossover. Going 75 toward Nashville, you're in the right-hand lane, and you go, I think it's up and over now. So you go up and over, and the folks that want to go 24, like you're going to Hamilton Place and you're going to Knoxville, left-hand lane, they go underneath you. Right-hand lane gets you up the hill and into Chattanooga, and we always know that people going up the hill on the construction that's always there on that little strip, getting you up to the hill and down into downtown Chattanooga. Give yourself, other than a merry little Christmas, give yourself an extra 20 minutes or so to navigate the 24-75 exchange and going up the hill through the construction, over the hill, and down into Chattanooga proper. So give you an extra 20 to 30 minutes in your travel plans if you are going tomorrow. Like I said, looking forward to seeing everybody up there who are fans of both clubs. And so it will be intriguing. Morning, Tom. Good to see you. And yes, as you can tell, everything is back to normal. Everything is back to normal. And that is opening kickoff, by the way. So brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. We have an answer as to what went wrong. For 4 days, we were without normal communication. And thank you for your forbearance in here and seeing me off of a laptop for 4 days. So here's what happened. They cut a line. We are having some construction going on in the backyard, the collective backyard here at Office HD. and there is a retaining wall that is decaying. It's old railroad ties. And when old railroad ties, they get really old, really wet, really nasty, they just start kind of breaking apart. That's been happening for a long time. So the individuals that apparently have been doing the digging, making sure that everything is being prepared so that that retaining wall can be taken out, got to the ground level and cut our line. And the reason that I got to see the 55 was because of a hotspot that the company that provides everything for our cable system, that was off a Wi-Fi hotspot. So literally the only reason that we had the big 55 going was a Wi-Fi hotspot, a corporate Wi-Fi hotspot. So we had an enterprising gentleman come out yesterday, and he put probably 3 or 4 foot more of cable than necessary in our backyard to go from our head end, our input point, and our splitter to the actual cable end that is buried in the backyard. And I mean, it is literally a coil of orange piping and tape and cords. So they can't miss it. Literally, it is maybe an extra 6 feet of cable that is above ground and not wound. Literally, hey, this is orange cable, and it's orange cable. Don't cut it while you're doing your work. And what we've been told is that someone is going to come out and do a conduit deeper than 4 inches into the ground, which is apparently 4 inches seems to be the number that it takes when you're installing cable lines below ground level. It appears that they might be coming out here to make a conduit lower than 4 inches into the ground. But right now, there is an extra 6 feet of coiled wire that is in our backyard going from our splitter to our cable head end. So you can't miss it. So they cut lines. So that's what happened, and that's why we didn't have it for 4 days in this weather adventure that we had here in the southeastern United States. So that is the answer to the question. The question, jerk, quoting John McEnroe early this morning. So that is why it was 4 days of you staring at me at a laptop. And once again, thank you for your forbearance in doing so. All right, that's opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You can buy out the store, which we recommend, and you can do it for 15% off. How do you do that, you ask? You go to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You buy the store out, then you use the code soccer down here 15 at checkout. Then you've bought the store, but you've saved 15%. And then they, in turn, take 10%, they meaning the friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. What they have done is they have taken 10%, reinvested it in youth games, youth initiative stuff that they have earmarked here at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay, first interview of the day. Time to catch up with Chris Nugent, and this is going to be my first test of how do we say, technology today, because it was an interview that was taped yesterday. And so me playing this interview and not being on camera this morning, seeing the interview play will be all of the logistics that I have to navigate here. This is the first time I've done this with our new software. So please be patient with me. But here's our interview yesterday with Chattanooga FC head coach Chris Nugent as we get ready for the matchup with Atlanta United this weekend up at Fort Finley. So here is our preview. Fingers crossed. Time to catch up with the man in charge at Chattanooga FC, and it is Chris Nugent. Chris, I know that we caught up with you when you were officially named back in October, but now you've got matches that are coming up, and the first one against Atlanta United. Welcome back to the network.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what have you learned about yourself as now that you've got the head coach name on the business card and you're getting everything ready for the first action of preseason? What have you learned in that time from, say, mid-October to now?
Just how busy this job is and how there's so much to do. It's been a very busy, however, a very productive offseason. So we've got new staff in, new players, adding some more maybe or different principles to the game. So it's been very busy. It's felt very quick as well. It's kind of flown by.
let me ask you this. Let's start off the field. I know that you want to surround yourself with individuals that have the like mindset and want to get your version of CFC out there. For the assistants that you brought in, what do they bring to the table for you here in 2025?
They bring a lot. All of them came very highly recommended, have been around the game and been very successful in different areas of it. I think now we have a good staff that covers holistically maybe all the things we want to do. We have the right people in, I think, on and off the field the way they are. They're good humans, they're hard workers, they have a good understanding. I think they're aligned similar with some of the ideas I would like to do. It's been great to share some of that load that I've had. Well, maybe I didn't have them in, and now getting them to take the work, run with it, and do an even better job than I would have done. So I'm excited to see how much they grow from these 2 weeks to how productive we can all be in the next few months.
Adam Rickey, the first assistant, and Liam Davies, the second assistant, for those that do not know about how you're building your staff. Now, getting your...
Chris Baracus, the goalkeeper coach as well. It's not for
there you go. Yes, Chris Baracus, the goalkeeping coach. Thank you for mentioning that one as well. We go off the field to on the field. So with the four of you, and I remember the picture of the four of you standing there on the field getting ready for everything. You mentioned the holistic approach and trying to have the entire individual out there with the CFC message. How do you think the message has been received so far, understood so far, and getting ready for the 2025 season?
I think the message has been good, well received so far from the guys. We still have that early preseason excitement, so I think it's tough to break that anyway. We've kind of laid out some expectations of what we plan to do over the two-week mini preseason that we've had, and I think we've done a good job of connecting to that. The players seem very brought in. They seem excited. I think we've done a good job this year of getting to know guys before we sign them and lay out those expectations, but also finding guys that kind of aligned with it. So the 2 weeks have been great. I think there's a very good atmosphere around the group, not just the staff, the players, but even the rest of the technical staff and the rest of the club that's overlapping.
How difficult is it to cram for a test like this? You mentioned the 2 weeks leading into this, and this first test is up against Atlanta United. It's a growing MLS Next Pro side against an MLS side that obviously with Ronnie Dyle, he has things that he's trying to implement at the same time. He's got his own marching orders. I know you have yours. How difficult is it for you to cram for a test like this, knowing that it's going to be Atlanta United?
It's difficult. I think it's always tough coming back at the start of the season. Guys have to get their field legs back and their lungs back in them as well. This was slightly earlier than we planned, so I think we weren't quite where we wanted to be fully fitness-wise, as you'd expect on the first day. Normally in preseason, you kind of will build up rather than going straight in with a game like this. So it's difficult, but I think it's always going to be difficult based on you always want to come back at a higher level than what you've been at in previous years. And it's always tough, new ideas, new people. There's always that blending it in. But it's exciting to have a test against a team we know is going to be well coached and well organized and a high level of technical ability of the players. So anything we think we can do is going to get tested and shown, okay, maybe we have to work here or fix this. So it'll be fun.
How do you, I guess, not get wrapped up in the moment, focus on what you're trying to build, but at the same time balance that with the excitement of match day one preseason, because yes, it is a match. Yes, there will be a result, but at the same time, I know that folks will be excited, but you have to temper the message a little bit. Hey, we're just coming out of the blocks here. How do you balance that?
I think you're going to have, like I said, that natural excitement of being back. Everybody, it's been a while since we've been on the field, since we've been in front of the fans, that whole game day build-up. I think I mentioned this maybe last time, it's the whole process as well. We're not just focusing on one game until maybe that game becomes the very last game of the season. So this will be the first step of getting ready for the first day kickoff, for playoffs, and hopefully even more than that. So I think focus on that bigger picture of what we're trying to achieve as a team and as a club, rather than maybe just the game. And you never know, maybe we'll meet another MLS team along the road in the Open Cup or something like that.
All right, so on the field with the folks that are in, for those that haven't had the chance to stare at a roster sheet, who and your other assistants, who is the gang of four here looking at to make an impact here in 2025? Who are we staring at so far this year?
I'm going to say Darwin. Darwin Ortiz, our local younger guy. I think that'll be exciting. A kid from Georgia playing for us as well. He will probably be one. I think there's a lot of guys that are returning that are eager to show their quality again, as well as the returning guys. So it's hard to pick that one. I'm going to go with Darwin because it's exciting to have the younger home player in. However, a lot of the guys have really stood out in preseason for it. We're going to have guys in both halves playing that will have big minutes and be big plays for us. I think it would be unfair to just single out one, but I am going to go with Darwin. So apologies to the rest of the team that I picked.
No worries. Well, that's my follow-up. So now that we've pulled the spot shadow away, you can break news here if you want and mention your formation and your starting 11 and what you're anticipating. But for those that have come in, for those that have stayed, what is it when someone stares at the roster sheet? They come walking in the door at Fort Finley and they see that roster that you've assembled so far for this first matchup. Who are some of the returners? Who are some of the new guys? What's the roster shape looking like? Not necessarily who we focus on, but what the build has been and who can folks kind of gravitate toward and look at and go, okay, so that's the roster sheet and that's the guy.
I think there's a good, like I said, it's a good mix of returners and some new guys coming in. There's still maybe 2 or 3 guys that are in the works that we're expecting something over the next couple of weeks to happen. So we are, I think we're ahead of where we'd usually be at this time of the year, probably due to having the game in terms of the overall number on the roster. But there's still, I would expect maybe 6 or 7 new faces in by the time we start in March.
How difficult a transition is that for them where they might be wearing the hello, my name is name tag, trying to learn their way in and around Chattanooga FC when it comes to integrating those new faces? How much of a challenge is that for you and the staff and the players that are coming back from 2024?
I don't think it's a huge challenge. We've got a good group of guys and they're very welcoming. Even guys that come in on trial or the new guys, they seem to fit in quite easy. I think we've got a great group of people, not just on the first team, but around the first team that make it a little easier, that can integrate into community. And obviously we have a huge fan base here who are excited to see the new guys and make them feel a little bit more welcome. So I think we've done a great job off the field as a club of making players want to be here, and they have that excitement of the fans wanting them here as well. So I would say it's easier than you would hope.
Are you to the point now where you can that you are stopped in the Food Lion, you're stopped in the grocery store, you're stopped in the mall over at Hamilton Place? Do people sit there and tap you on the shoulder and go, hey, aren't you? And you get a soccer question. Are you at that point in the community right now after 4 months?
No, I'm not. I don't even think everyone in the office knows who I am yet. So I think we're somewhere away from me being stopped in the grocery store.
So
the players, I think that's good for the players. I think everyone's more interested in the players, and I would be too. So
there you go. Last question for you, and thanks for hanging out. How would you quantify success with the matchup with Atlanta United? And you can take result and put it off to the side. How would you quantify, okay, we've accomplished what we as a staff and as a club were looking for in this preseason opener? How would you quantify that?
I think it would be examples of who we are and who we want to be coming out. So whether it's how we attack, how we defend, how we do certain actions individually, I think that would be the big one for me. We know that it's still early in the process. So as we get close to the season, we'd like to see more consistent examples of what we want to do. So can we see that imprint of what we've tried to work on as a team? I think that would be the big success for me.
Looking forward to it.
And then trying to win heavily as well. But
yeah.
The time, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we are looking forward to coming up there and seeing you at Fort Finley there this weekend as Chattanooga FC gets ready for the matchup against Atlanta United. Chris, it's always great to see you, my friend. We will catch up with you soon. We will see you on the field at Fort Finley this weekend.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Never mind. Okay. That's me trying to figure out why I wasn't on camera. No. Okay, so here's what happened. All right. So I'm still trying to learn the technology, and I thought it was just pushing a simple button. So what happened was, I am in a different location than the camera setups for the rundown. So it's like I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have six different camera setups. And I thought mistakenly that when I minimized myself, that I could maximize by hitting the same button back in. So anyway, thanks to Chattanooga FC and bringing up Chris Nugent. Thanks to Hayes Creech and everybody up there. But what happened was when I took myself out so you could see the interview, I literally went kind of off the grid. And I had to figure out, instead of just pushing a button that's like, push a button, I'm off, push a button, I'm back in, it ended up being, okay, you went back into the waiting room. Lesson learned. Okay, so now that I'm back out, so I was in the waiting room, and then I realized, oh, I'm in the waiting room. It's like I looked over, the last place that I could look was over in the waiting room to try to figure out, okay, I might be there. So that's what happened. Anyway, so thanks once again to Chattanooga FC. 3 o'clock tomorrow, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app, and you get to catch up with Atlanta United preseason opener, and they're taking on Chattanooga FC, and they are taking on, it's Chattanooga FC and Atlanta United. Looking forward to the 2025 season kicking off. Mike and Jason, and it is all of that stuff. So we have an update on the birthday. So I am right now sending an email to that individual, wishing him a happy birthday. So Michael Parkhurst is out of commission, and understandably so, considering that he has celebrated another lap around the sun. So he is out the door. We had anticipated that. So if Greg Garza is not globetrotting, which he has been recently, he's been doing a lot of great work for Major League Soccer and a lot of great work with Beyond Goals, that we'll have Greg on somewhere here in this half hour to get you ready for what's going on with hour number 2. But in the interim, in the interest of somewhat equal time, what we will do is this. Yesterday, Garth Lagerwey was on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. And I've seen that Greg is in Miami. Greg has been spending a lot of time going all over the place. So what we will do is we will listen to Garth Lagerwey. Garth caught up with, or Andy and Randy caught up with Garth. And so it was Andy and Randy and Garth yesterday. And here is, I know that there is a lot of question about pursuit of players right now when it comes to the 11 days left in the international window over in Europe. And then there are some windows that are open a little longer than that. But Garth was asked about player pursuit. And so here was the question and answer session. Here's Garth's answer from, I believe it was Randy McMichael who asked him that question. This is courtesy of our friends at 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. Garth Lagerwey yesterday on with Andy and Randy about chasing after players.
Christmas when I was in college. But you know how the puffy coats now are kind of slimmer? They used to be real bulky and puffy. But I'm keeping it.
You're looking like the
marshmallow.
Okay, we're able to put things together at the end, and which is husband.
Atlanta United President, CEO Garth Lagerwey joining us here on the Midday Show with Andy and Randy. Short off season, like you said, really quick, but busy. Like a lot went down, of course. New manager, new folks in the front office. Does it feel different?
It does, man. So look, we last year was this exercise, and obviously we parted ways with the head coach, parted ways with the general manager. There's a whole bunch of change, and we were able to put things together at the end and make that little run. But it was one of those where you couldn't get hung up in all the emotion of that. You had to look long term and say, all right, did anything fundamentally change? You know, were the underlying numbers any different for those 7 games at the end of the season versus the 20 games that happened before that? And we had some people that popped up: Chris Henderson, Ronnie Dyla, Dave Tenney. these guys, the three guys we added, they were not available in the summer. You know, so we had to make this work. We had to kind of patch it together, bubble gum and chewing and baling wire and all, whatever that expression is. And we did it, and credit to Rob Valentino, our interim head coach, and his staff. They did an awesome job, got us on this run. But then we brought in now 60 years of experience and about 17 titles, I think, between Dyla and Chris Henderson and Dave Tenney. So really transformed the staff. And now what we got to do, now that we got alignment, now we're across front office and head coach, now we got to go get some big players, sign those designated players, fill those spots, and now bring them in and get ready for 2025.
How close, or can you tell us, are you close to these DP-type signings? Because, I mean, we all know that, you know, we love the guys that are here, Brad and everybody, but there are some spots open that usually are the guys that help this team score, win games like that. How close are we to maybe getting some of those guys over here?
Yeah, look, and what I would say is we got our quarterback in Alexei Moranchik. That's the guy we signed there, but we know we need to get some wide receivers. We need to get some left tackles. We need to get some defensive ends, some of these high-priced guys that come in and can really, really help the team, impact the team, win games for us, right? And what I would say is some of what we're doing when we're shopping for these players, we're subject to what happens in other countries. So in Europe, the transfer window for them closes on February 3.
Okay.
So anytime we're signing a player, one of these big high-profile designated players, they have to, the team from which we're buying the player, they got to replace him. So the pressure is really going to come over the next 10 days because those teams in Europe, presumably if they're going to sell us one of their best players, right, then they're going to have to bring someone in to replace him. In order to bring that person in, they got to do that before February 3rd.
Right.
So that means they got to complete the deal with us before they can do that in most cases. So there's this artificial pressure, but likewise, those teams in Europe are going to wait as long as they can to get the best offer they possibly can. So what I think is going to happen, and this is a best guess, Saturday will be the last round of games for most teams before the window closes. There'll be one more round of games that next Saturday, to be clear, but that's really pushing it too late. You know, most teams aren't going to hold on, play their guys on a week from Saturday, which would be February 1st,
right,
and then hope, hey, I can get this guy out and I can get another guy in 48 hours before the window closes. So what we think is going to happen is these games are going to get played Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday, then the rubber's going to meet the road. Now, maybe those teams can say no to us. Yeah. No, we don't want to say it. We don't want to sell the player. We don't get the price isn't right, whatever. But I think that's the timing of it. I think in the next couple of days, we're going to get a lot of movement one way or the other. And our eggs are never all in one basket. You always got alternatives to, hey, if this guy falls through, we're going to get this guy. So it'll be an iterative process. It'll be live.
Garth Lagerway hanging out with Andy and Randy yesterday, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app. So, two things. I boosted that audio to where it wasn't overmodulated in our audio program. I guess I still have to continue to boost it up more than what is said because of all the things. So now, going in line with what Ben Jacobs told us back on Tuesday, Ben was of the thought that Miggy would be done later in the window because, once again, he had made the thought that, and you can go back and listen to that interview on all of our platforms. Ben was under the impression, just his own internal thought, that if Miguel Almiron comes in late in the window, say he comes in January 31st, hey, the window's open for Major League Soccer, and, there you go. So if that announcement comes in there, he's in playing shape. He's still in Premier League playing shape. So, coming from that, for Miggy, if that deal does come to pass, if he comes to Atlanta United, he'll still be in Premier League playing shape. It won't be something where you have to have a couple of weeks of conditioning and then you have something else happening where it's like, oh, okay, he has to condition, then he has to get integrated, then he's ready to play. You won't have to worry about the conditioning where Miguel Almiron is concerned if it is, in fact, a situation involving Miguel Almiron and his signing with Atlanta United. So there are factors there that you wouldn't have to necessarily be concerned about that you would be in other places. did not see the Polish player rumor. So, is there something else other than a Piontek in Turkey? Let's phrase it that way. So if Miguel Almiron is to be a part of Atlanta United, you won't have to worry about conditioning. So having him later in the window toward the end of training camp, toward the end of the month, giving him 3 weeks of time to get adjusted. Thank you, Abby. To get adjusted, another week, it'd be okay. So Ben Jacobs was under the impression that even if it's not immediate, Atlanta United could do Newcastle a solid because of their schedule backup. And then you have that with Miguel Almiron. So that would be the lack of an issue if there is no immediacy involving Miguel Almiron. Now, this morning, it was announced by Ben and others advancing the conversation involving ATLUTD that the signing was happening involving Morgan Whitaker. Now, Morgan Whitaker is a stud for Plymouth Argyle. And Plymouth Argyle was ready to send Whitaker to Middlesbrough, and that would have been the hashtag ELL replacement, or one of them. So I want to get the wording right from Ben when it comes to transfers and such. Interesting. That's interesting. Okay. So that I'll have to go from a different source. Apparently, I've got to delete cookies when it comes to the 280 character app. But okay, so let's look at Ben Jacobs and get his lowdown on Morgan Whitaker. Let me see if I can find the Whitaker information, because there is other news and there's other things to get into involving a lot of the navigation. Plymouth striker Morgan Whitaker undergoing a medical ahead of a 6+2 move to Middlesbrough. So that is what Ben Jacobs was reporting as of early this morning. So Morgan Whitaker, striker Plymouth Argyle, was looked at for striker replacement, however you want to phrase it. So you end up with Jacobs and now Keith Downey, and Ricky went one direction, I went the other. So I went with Ben Jacobs, he went with Keith Downey. So Keith Downey at Spy, who is, by the way, their main Newcastle reporter, but with stuff going on with Middlesbrough. Downey confirms the 6+2, the £8 million offer for Morgan Whitaker. Middlesbrough accepted that, had that offer accepted. And so set to travel to Teesside to undergo a medical this weekend. If Borough can agree on personal terms, Burnley remain interested despite having a bid turned down last week. Top target for Michael Carrick joins former Plymouth teammate Finn Azaz at Borough. Anthony Joseph, Keith Downey, and Ben Jacobs all have Morgan Whitaker heading in the direction of Middlesbrough. And Morgan Whitaker apparently undergoing a medical as of 6:40 Eastern time this morning. So while most of us were still asleep, the potential ELL replacement was undergoing a medical at Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough had agreed with Plymouth Argyle, 6+2, £6 million plus $2 million in add-ons. So $8 million for Morgan Whitaker to go to Middlesbrough, and he would have been the replacement on Emmanuel ATLUTD. So if pieces are, look, I don't know if they're coming together, but let's kind of treat them as they are. So do not be surprised if the Miguel Almiron deal doesn't happen immediately, but does still happen because of Newcastle's backlog of schedule. And like I said, go back and listen to the Ben Jacobs interview that we had on Tuesday to discuss Miguel Almiron and his impending thought of probably happening transfer to Atlanta United. So you're looking at, if that's later in the window, that's cool. We'll do you solid. So that's from the Ben Jacobs interview that we had back on Tuesday and confirmed Morning Espresso this morning with Jason. Now, step 2, remember, Latte Lath was looked at as 18 plus 2 for Atlanta United to take from Middlesbrough. The news right now, Michael Carrick, and we always go to Teesside Live to get the latest here. The latest interview that was done with Michael Carrick involving Emmanuel Latte Lath. So Michael Carrick has suggested that Middlesbrough will set a deadline on any potential Latte Lath exit with the window now in its final 10 days. So apparently, reading that headline, looks like Michael Carrick, according to Craig Johns at Teesside Live in the Gazette, Michael Carrick wants this done. So that's it. Borough came into the window, and this is from the Giles article. Borough came into the January transfer window braced for interest in their star striker, who's added 11 goals to the 18 he scored last year. Despite talk of Premier League interest, though as it stands, Atlanta United remain the only side to have tabled an official offer of Emmanuel Latte Lath. Said to be worth 20 after add-ons, as we've mentioned, 18 plus 2. Status of that offer remains unknown. Latte Lath continuing to play an important role for Michael Carrick's side in the championship. However, Borough are pressing ahead with their own incoming business. See Whitaker, Morgan. And exactly how much they'll be able to do before the transfer deadline, which is on Monday, February 3rd at 11 p.m. So 6 o'clock Eastern time Monday, February 3rd. Boom. Depends on if Latte Lath leaves the Riverside or not. Having turned down a deadline day bid from Ipswich in the summer, Carrick was asked if Borough would have a deadline again this time in terms of when they could no longer accept offers. Carrick, quote, regardless of any individual, the closer it gets to a deadline, the more difficult things become. That's the same for any player and any club. It's always the danger and always the case. You'll always see that a lot of things can happen in the last day or so of the transfer window. It's not really ideal, but it's just the world we live in and the business that's been created. That's why so many people will be glued to deadline day to see what's going to happen. If you've got players that other teams are interested in, then it does leave you open, parenthesis, to losing people late on. But there's nothing you can do about that, really. There's not really anything you can do to control that other than staying calm and have a plan. The timing to then go on and implement plans, that's another issue. Carrick continues, but that's not something new for this window, and it's not something that's unique to us. It's the way business is. We've got to just accept it. We had that last time out, and it's something you have to deal with. You can't always plan for that, and there are reasons why they don't get done or accepted towards the end. It becomes a bit more challenging to get things done. That's the dynamics of the window. Borough are believed to have a plan this time around if Latte Lath goes. Like I said, it's the Morgan. I think it's the Morgan Whitaker, unless there's Whitaker and. As well as signing a striker, they're also looking to strengthen other areas of the squad. How much of the desired work they'd be able to do if the Ivorian doesn't exit remains to be seen. Asked if he felt the striker would stay this month, Carrick offered no guarantees. The situation is exactly the same as it has been. I think you can see in his attitude to playing and the fact he's scoring goals, it's no issue for us. I can't say for any player that we will definitely hang on to them. Every player in the world has some price, whatever that is. There's no denying that. That's football. But nothing has changed at the minute. We are where we are, and we're happy with it. And then he goes on to continue, and there's more of a quote there. So that came from the Gazette Live, Teesside Live. That came this morning, 6 o'clock. So that came from Michael Carrick about Emmanuel Latte Lath. So look right now. Ricky mentions Borough play tomorrow. Their next match after that is 2-3, the day after the window closes. So the Latte Lath deal if you look at the calendar, in theory would get done sooner than the Almiron deal because of the Premier League and fixture congestion, et cetera. So, Burrow deal might get done beforehand. They've got Morgan Whitaker in on a medical from Plymouth Argyle, and they've dropped 6+2. That's the number that has been reported. I'm sure that to replace that 6+2, 18+2 would not hurt, because then what they could do is take the 10 and go chase after other players to help them in their promotion push. So Latte Loth still cranking goals for Middlesbrough. Let's see. EFL Championship table. EFL Championship standings, fine, we'll take that. All right, so right now, Middlesbrough is in the promotion playoff through match week 28. Leeds, Sheffield United 1-2. Then it's a race. Burnley and Sunderland chasing after those two squads at 56 and 54 points. Then there's a gap. Middlesbrough right now is the 5. Through 28 matches, they're 3 points clear in the promotion playoff. They're the 5 right now at 44 points, Blackburn at 42. But, and I say but, I probably should say however, West Brom at 41, Watford at 41. Tom Cleverley looks like he is going to be coach for at least one more match. The folks at Watford changing their head coach, who knew? Bristol City at 38, QPR at 38, Sheffield Wednesday at 38. So that's 6 points between 5 and 11 right now in the championship. So if you sneeze, you have a bad week, you could be out of the promotion playoff altogether. So that's where things are right now with Middlesbrough. Plymouth Argyle, dead last in the championship, 21 points, and they are 5 points adrift of the team above them, and that's Luton. Remember what happened with Luton last year? Luton last year was in the Premier League, and they are having an abysmal year in the championship. Next to last, while there are 3 points that separate 18 from 23 at the bottom, Luton's having an awful year. But Plymouth Argyle decides, okay, tell you what, we are 5 points adrift, 6 from safety. Here's our number one striker. Plymouth Argyle is either doing one of two things. They are taking that apparent 6+2 in pounds and saying, you know what? We're going to work on our bottom line. Whatever happens, happens. And if we go back to League One, we go back to League One. Or they're going to invest that 6+2, bring in more players, and try to stay up. So we'll see what happens there. But that is the rundown for what is going on at the moment involving Middlesbrough, Latte Loth, Morgan Whitaker, the striker alleged replacement for a Latte Loth, or addition, depending on your perspective, Michael Carrick setting a deadline and wanting to get it over with, and Atlanta United being patient, perhaps, involving Miguel Almiron because of Newcastle and fixtures, etc. So, with a week left, 10 days left in the window in Europe, that's where things are with those two. Abby had brought up Piontek and the discussion involving him, and we haven't heard anything from Christoph Piontek, sorry. So we haven't heard anything since that one note, literally that one note that came from one of the more followed Turkish media folks 10 days ago. Christoph Piontek and Başakşehir 10 days ago. And it was Yabis Sabunçoğlu. He was the individual that had mentioned Saba and Atlanta United. But since that initial note from Yagis, nothing. It has been radio silence involving Christoph Piontek and anything involving Atlanta United or anything involving Başakşehir. The initial number was 6.2. That came out from Yagis. But 10 days ago, that was when it happened. We have heard nothing. Zip, nada, bupkis involving Christoph Piontek, who is lighting it up, by the way. 23 goals, 31 matches. And a report from Poland stated an unnamed team from Major League Soccer had bid 10 million euro. So, but like I said, Piontek and Atlanta United, nothing. Nothing since that initial thought from Yagis and reports out of Poland. It's like literally that's it. So nothing else on Piontek from Başakşehir. Middlesbrough right now bringing in Morgan Whitaker from the last place team in the EFL Championship for $8 million. Atlanta's 18+2 is on the table. Michael Carrick, manager, wants to get a deal done, whatever the deal is, sooner rather than later. We mentioned the crush in the standings right now in the EFL Championship, so that's what he's staring at. That's what's going on involving those players. Latte-Lath, Piontek, Miggy. That's where we are right now. Piontek, pull him out, fold him, put him over in file 13 because we haven't heard anything, nothing, anything since 10 days ago and that one report from Yagis. That's it. One report, Başakşehir, Yagis, nothing. So Middlesbrough actually looks like it might happen sooner. And I say that with a question mark and an upswing at the end of my sentence because if Michael Carrick wants it done soon, he just wants to know what's going on. They've made the move for Morgan Whitaker. So top scorer, Plymouth Argyle, having a medical, heading that way. Okay, so that means perhaps that Latte-Lath may happen before Miggy in the terms of deal and showing up and those kinds of things. But we'll keep an eye on all of that. Now, question for all of you before I say hi to everybody at the beginning of hour number 2. Other than, I hope no one gets hurt, everybody comes in healthy, I want to know what you're looking for, who you're looking at. Expectations other than nobody gets hurt. I want to know what's in your spot shadow for this match. Across the board. I want to know what's in your spot shadow. I want to know who you're looking at. What you're looking at specifically when it comes to Atlanta United. I want to know what is on your mind. A, if you're going. B, if you're not. C, if you're just going to listen to it on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. I want to know what's on your mind involving Atlanta United in this first match because it is match number 1, 2025. You've got this match. You have the match in Birmingham. There's a little bit of SDH-ness that's going to be involved in Birmingham as well. Then you've got the 3 matches at IMG before coming back on the 15th for the matchup against FC Dallas at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. And all of that stuff is going to be 6 matches in a sprint starting tomorrow. 6 matches in 3 weeks. 6 matches, 3 weeks, 3 at IMG, Chattanooga, Birmingham, IMG 3 times, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. Season starts on the 22nd. Literally, we're 29 days. 29 days away from the start of Major League Soccer's 2025 season. With this first match, other than making sure that everybody gets out healthy, what are you looking for? Who are you looking at? What's in your spot shadow? Because I always mention spot shadows when I talk to other personalities about, if we were there, who'd be in your spot shadow? I want to know who's in your spot shadow. I want to know what you're looking at and what you're looking forward to. So put that out there. that's going to be a part of the conversation in hour number 2 as we get you ready for everything coming up this weekend as we go and have Atlanta United kicking off in 2025. So, all right, let me say hi to everybody since we're getting ready for 10 o'clock Eastern time. And that's when we'll get into all the promos and all the things that's going on here with us at SDH and with you. So good morning, Alex. Good morning, Derek. Good morning, Ricky. Ricky will be at home. Morning, Tom. Emilio is absolutely correct that it is the 75-24 is a screwed up interchange considering it's opposites going in opposite directions. So once again, if you're going tomorrow, give yourself an extra half hour. 75 heading to Nashville, I think. Is it 75 to Nashville and 24 to Knoxville? Anyway, if you're heading north from Atlanta, get in the right-hand lanes to go over the top at the interchange and go up the hill and go into Chattanooga. See, now I'm getting 75 and 24 swapped in my brain. But anyway, if you're in the left-hand lanes, you end up going to Knoxville. Don't do that unless you want to go to Knoxville. Right-hand lanes is where you need to be when you're in East Ridge, crossing the border, get in the right-hand lanes, and then that way you go up and over the hill and into Chattanooga. So give yourself an extra half hour. Match starts at 3. Not much of a pregame show at 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app, but Mike and Jason will be there. Maddie and I will be there. Sophia will be there. We'll have all your stuff. During the match, after the match, full-time report will be taped, and full-time report will be available 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app after the fact. So that's what you're staring at tomorrow involving Atlanta United and Chattanooga FC. Morning, Ricky. Amelia with a question this morning, and this was something from the last 4 or 5 days. How many people here drip faucets in this weather? Guilty as charged. Absolutely guilty as charged. And as I said in the chat, our water bill is going to be ridiculous from what has happened over the last week. And what we did is we had a faucet in one of the upstairs bathrooms, and we also had the faucet here in Office HD. We had them going just as kind of redundant. And we also got, I don't know if it worked or not. I imagine it did. There are these styrofoam covers that you can get for your outside faucets. One of our outside faucets is kind of protected by the weather and by our air conditioning unit and things like that. So that is out back. So we weren't necessarily as concerned out back as we were to our faucet at the front of the casa. So we got these styrofoam covers that you can put over your faucet, and it allegedly protects them from weather and, really, really bad temperatures in the minus. I don't know if the styrofoam would be even functioning in the big pluses, but if it's a big minus, if it's a large cold temperature, putting that styrofoam cap over your faucet, or your outdoor spigot, apparently keeps it functioning. So we got 2 of those, put one out front, and it's still there. But we are also we are running our faucets, and I really don't want to see our water bill. But yeah, we were one of those folks that ran the trickling of the water, and I don't want to see our bill. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Harry. Morning, Abby. And Abby said that she's dripping until tomorrow when we stop going below freezing. Yes. Morning, 4 card. Abby cannot make it. But yeah, and this is where, yes, no. And that was where I was trying to figure out what's going on. Kyogo and France. Now, that was another thing. Tom mentioning that. Kyogo and Ren have been back and forth, and Jorge Sampaoli had mentioned that they were going to make the deal happen with Kyogo. And so according to BBC Sport, Celtic is close to a Furuhashi-san sale and a return of Jota from France in Ligue 1. So Brendan Rodgers, according to the Glasgow Times, confirmed he plans to add a striker to his Celtic squad with Furuhashi set to join Rennes. I'm thinking, and Jarrett's probably of this same mind. Why not go ahead and hijack that deal? You wander over and you go to Celtic and say, look, how about 15? Get it done now. I'm sure that that Jarrett would be all over that idea, that Jarrett would want to make sure that Furuhashi-san would be working his way to Rennes, but it looks like Kyogo has expressed an interest, and this is from our friends at Sky, that Kyogo has expressed an interest to leave a number of months back, according to Brendan Rodgers. Preparing to join Rennes, we understand we have to replace that quality to keep the team moving forward. That's Brendan Rodgers earlier this morning. So Furuhashi right now would be leaving for a club that is in a relegation fight because they have that goofy crossover with Ligue 2 and Ligue 1, kind of like they do with Germany, where you have teams that do get relegated. Then you have the relegation playoff with like the third worst team and the third best team in Ligue 2, and they play. Right now, Rennes in a relegation fight. Rennes, Nantes, and Saint-Étienne, 14, 15, 16. They're all separated by goal difference. Saint-Étienne has a horrendous goal difference. So Furuhashi would be going into a relegation fight for 8+2 for 10 million pounds. I think it's pounds. But that's what you're staring at with Furuhashi-san. Yeah, pounds. Sold for 25. Coming back to that club a few years later for 8. Shoot, go 12. Kick the tires on that. Call up Celtic and go, hey, here's 12. How about Furuhashi? Well, he's not playing in a relegation battle. So we'll see. But, yeah, keep an eye on Furuhashi just to see if that makes it over the finish line, first and foremost. We'll see what happens there. Abby, I don't know. Abby's asking if Garth's going to be on regularly, weekly like Darren used to be. And obviously we send our love to Darren Eels. Don't know if Garth's going to be on regularly with either Dukes and Bell or Andy and Randy, but we'll keep an eye on that. And then once again, listening to Morning Espresso, and we would recommend that you do that. You can either watch it or listen to it. It's up on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, and it's also available on all of our footprint. That believe Miguel's answer over manager later in the window, and that's okay. Yeah, and that's what we were getting into with the Ben Jacobs thought with all of the matches that are there and only the one match left is, that's mentioned later in the timeline about Middlesbrough. One more, then you get to February 3rd. Window's done. You got to get your business. So Emilio had a question. We'll get into that coming up in a bit. So Ricky, once again, and that's why I wanted to go to Teesside Live and look at the Gazette and see what their latest was, and that was why we got the stuff from Michael Carrick that was from earlier this morning as they get ready for their match. Thinking the ELL signing will be done next week as well. And so the layout, Ricky says Newcastle plays tomorrow and next Saturday. So 2 more for Newcastle, 1 more for Borough before the window shuts. Yes, so they both got to hurry it up. Hurry it up, man. Hurry it up. And Emilio's question, what happened to the practice of holding a player from practice or match to avoid injury? Depends on the player. Latte Loth, as an example, wants to play. He wants to continue to play, and that's just how he's wired. If a manager / player sit there and go, might be in your best interest to kind of sit because we want to protect the investment, then you do see that. But you see one or the other. It's not something that is entirely out there that is just one pathway. Like I said, with Latte Loth and Michael Carrick, Carrick's not afraid to put Latte Loth in his starting lineup to still be his striker. Latte Loth is like, okay, let's line it up, knock it down. That's just how they're wired. Some other managers, when they look at investments, they sit there and go, you know what? Maybe sit for a sec, kind of chill. Yeah, your time here is limited. We want what's best for you. Translation, we don't want to, we don't want our investment damaged by the time it's time to make the deal and get everything all squared away. But right now, it just depends on the player and depends on the player-coach relationship too. So understand where Emmanuel Latte Loth is concerned that player, manager, in sync, I'm playing. Where Miguel Almiron is concerned, not necessarily getting a whole lot of minutes currently, comes in off the bench working in multiple competitions to help out his club, but he's not starting. But do not be surprised if something happens down the line closer to a deal being done where he may not even be in an 18. He's in 18s, but just keep an eye out for that and how things go involving Newcastle and replacements and getting things in line. Once again, I would go back and reference our Ben Jacobs interview that we had earlier this week about the Newcastle roster situation and how you have folks that are there and not as concerned about replacements. You're playing younger players, but there are options for Eddie Howe here in the last 10 days of this window. So Latte Loth wants to play. Carrick's like, all right, fine, let's line it up. Miguel isn't starting to begin with. And do not be surprised if that place is held as Newcastle goes forward before they get to the deadline. So, like I said, it just depends. And so I was asking for expectations and what you guys are looking for, what's in your spot shadow. Tom says he wants to see some of Mateus Click. And that reminds me, I've got it. Do I have written down? Because I have a list of things that I have to add to the audio drops. And I will literally have to sit here and hyper boost the audio, apparently, to make it sure. Yeah, I do have to add that one. Okay. All right. So I have to add click, click, boom to the drops before we get into the regular season. So I know I have to add that now. So Tom wants to see some of Mateus Click, keeping a close eye on AM 59. So we'll see what he's also looking at Miranchuk. Abby just wants announcements to be made to finalize players, and then she has to figure out the flag purchases. Amen. Yes. You have to get your purchases. See, and the thing is, with the home opener on the 22nd, Abby's got to make sure that all the flags get in, so she has them, so they can be hung, because the last thing Abby needs, and the last thing that the that the 17s need in that supporters section is waiting for a delivery from FedEx on a national flag, like on the 20th. On the 20th, that's the last thing that Abby needs. So I understand why Abby is sitting there and she's going, you know what? I need the flag. I need to know who's coming in. I need to know. I get it completely. Absolutely get it. Understand. Abby needs to have everything locked down so she can get her flags to take out the margin of error for shipping. And I can tell you about shipping. Whew. Shipping in the holidays. Morning, Michael Valverde and Abby. Thank you. Like I said, I get them confused. 24 to Nashville, 75 to Knoxville. And excellent point, Tom. In Calhoun, you got to add 30 to 45 minutes for the Buc-ee's visit. Both times. Because I imagine, I don't know how many of you are staying in Chattanooga, but I think I'll be in the area after the match is over. And then I've got to get up Sunday, come back to town, and, get back to getting ready for the following week. But the Buc-ee's in Calhoun is mandatory. As you can tell right here, they've got soccer scarves. They got soccer scarves, people. A friend of ours that's a part of the family was in Texas, went into a Buc-ee's, saw they had the soccer scarf, picked it up, sent it to me for Festivus. That is why it is there. Buc-ee's has scarves, people. Buc-ee's has scarves. Mandatory that you stop at the Buc-ee's going and coming, because the breakfast stuff is really good. Breakfast burrito. Jason will check off the breakfast burrito. I'm a pulled pork guy. I'm a banana pudding guy. The boss likes all the spicy crackers and stuff, all the spicy snacks. You got to set off another 30 minutes each way, coming and going, for the Buc-ee's visit. This is absolutely true. Thank you for that. Ricky Spot Shadow. Which young players show the best, meaning homegrowns, twos, academy, etc.? Without Miggy and Latte Loth, I just want the rest of the first team to be healthy. Maybe want to see what Click looks like. But yeah, homegrowns, twos, academy. That's what I will be looking at. I'm looking at how the team is grasping what Ronnie Dyla wants them to do. The little streak of nasty. Don't be nice. Don't be as nice. I want to see if that comes out at any time. I don't want it to be Reeves and Olivier like it was with Columbus and the Maple Leafs the other night when Ryan Reeves and Mathieu Olivier went at it. I don't want that. But if it comes to that you have players that can go in that direction and be that, have that little streak of nasty in them, but not be as nice, I guess. I want to see how they're grasping what Dyla wants them to do formationally and systemically and that kind of a thing. You can also listen to the Ronnie Dyla interview that was done with Dukes and Bell, 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app and the Off the Woodwork section of the podcast. And I'm going to thank them ahead of time this season for all of the content that they provide, all of you, all the 17s and everybody that wants to keep up with everything there. So keep an eye on Off the Woodwork, 92.9 The Game, Odyssey app. Mark all that stuff so you're ready when Jason comes out with AST and all of our stuff. Jason with the Morning Espresso, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, plus all the other content that we have. Next week, we will be at the National Training Center because there is an advancement in construction and news and things. And so Tuesday mornings, SDH will be an SDH PM. So Tuesday is an SDH PM because we will be at the training center gathering information and news and being there for everything going on down there in Fayetteville. So we'll be down there Tuesday morning gathering intel and info, and that'll be posted to the SDH network as we go on Tuesday. But SDH Tuesday is SDH PM. Keep you posted on that. So Abby's like, yes, 24 is on the right, 75 is on the left. Ugh. Yes, and David agrees on the whole faucet dripping for sure. No doubt. Absolutely true. Ricky doing the Lord's work. Sticky Fingers Barbecue, Champy's Famous Fried Chicken. You're welcome. Yes. Mark that down and put that in your books, in your maps, and your map quests, and your Google things. Abby, barely dripping, both tubs and 4 faucets of the 6. Ricky says his water bill, wow, maybe only $7 or $8 higher. Wow. Okay. Good on you. Good work. Emilio uses the plastic covers and cuts off the water. Abby says her bill wasn't too bad either. I think next month's might be the one that really catches us. Bill wasn't too bad. Have the styrofoam covers too. Bib covers. Thank you. I just call it like styrofoam pyramids because that's what they look like. They're styrofoam triangles. Bib covers. Thank you, David. David uses those as well. Michael Valverde, spot shadow, formation and transition. Defense to offense transition. That's what Michael's looking forward to when it comes to the matchup against Chattanooga FC tomorrow. Abby Hoodies for the dogs just came in yesterday. Better late than ever. Trying them out and seeing if they'll tolerate clothing on her. The Rowdy Man hates clothing. Absolutely hates clothing. He does not want it, doesn't like it. And when he wants to go out for a 10-100 or a 10-200, for the Rowdy Man, for him, it literally is, I'm out, I'm in. Wasting no time, especially with the snow and the ice. He's like, I'm heading over to the Lirio, doing my thing, going back in, like 2-3 minutes. And he hates having cold feet. And I know that if we tried to put boots on him, he would shake them off or he would bite through them, and they'd last about a day and a half. Not happening. Emilio, manager preference does not account for the risk of having players out there. I mean, in this particular case, Carrick and Latte Loth, Michael Carrick's putting him out there. Michael Carrick is putting him out there. So we're seeing what's going on. We welcome in Jared Smith. And Jared, as we are in hour number 2, what I wanted to do was kind of ask everybody. We heard from Chris Nugent from Chattanooga FC in hour number 1, but I wanted to ask everyone outside of the whole cliche, dollar in the jar bit of, okay, I hope no one gets hurt. I'm wondering what else is in everybody else's spot shadow outside of making sure everybody's healthy coming out of this match with Chattanooga FC. What are you looking at specifically from the Atlanta United perspective involving this matchup, match number 1 with Ronnie Dyla, et cetera, here coming up at Fort Finley tomorrow?
But that's most of it for me, health.
Yes.
Everyone comes out of here with all of their limbs attached, all of their ligaments still connecting major bones and muscles, and everyone's in one piece, and we don't have to deal with any issues. That's most of it for me. If you want to nitpick beyond that, it's a lot for me, the academy kids and anyone who was drafted, because this is something we saw last year with Javi Armas, who got time in the preseason and absolutely showed the hell out.
Yep.
And then went on to Iron Man his way through the MLS Next Pro season.
Yeah.
Want to see if we see Jaden Hibbert in this situation, just because it's a big year for him.
Yeah.
He took a lot of big steps last year. It wasn't perfect. Anyone who tells you it was is pulling the wool over your eyes.
Yeah.
Because he's still 20, I think, 21.
Yeah, I think so.
He still has some growing to do. He still has some learning to do. That's okay. It's going to be important for him. Yes, ligaments attach bone to bone. My ligaments and tendons are both destroyed, Abby. Like everything is destroyed. It's not the years, it's the mileage and the bad decisions I made playing sports. But I want to see what he does if he gets an opportunity, because I think as you come to not necessarily the strict end of Brad Guzan's career, but as we get closer and closer, and let's be honest, we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, time's undefeated. Doesn't mean it's happening right now. Doesn't mean we need to put him out to pasture.
Yep.
But you're closing in. As we get closer to all that jazz, I want to see if a guy like Hibbert can step up. I want to see if you see more out of Cohen if he gets between the sticks. A lot of it for me is academy kids and depth pieces, guys who are kind of on the outside looking in for minutes. Go earn some minutes.
Yep.
Go show against what I imagine will be a scrappy Chattanooga team. Like, Chattanooga made a lot of changes in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how it looks for some of these kids who are coming in. And as much as we joke about, like, so-and-so is in the best shape of their life, and we put $1 in the jar.
Yes.
Kids are different. Academy kids and homegrowns are different, because I'm not worried about them being in the best shape of their life. I'm worried about puberty rolling double sixes on them or snake eyes on them.
Yeah, really?
Because how often do we see that with these kids where, like, they just shoot up or they fill out,
mm-hmm.
or they don't. They stall out physically.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't seen these guys on the field for a bit. Let's see how it looks for them as they're developing both as players, but physically, because for a lot of guys like Alan Carlton was that guy. And I know he's not with the organization anymore. I still hate that.
Yeah.
I hope he does very well for himself. But he was one in particular that we talked to John. We talked a lot about, like, and Alan Carlton really developed technically. You're just waiting for him to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's one thing I'll be looking forward to, is seeing how many of these kids just might have taken a bit of a genetic leap when puberty just kind of pops up at the door and waves his wand.
Yes. And you are not the only one who is interested in seeing the younger players, the homegrowns, the twos, the academy players. Tom says he is also interested in seeing if there is any discernible difference in style right now under Ronnie Dyla.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, it's still going to be attacking style, because Dyla's going to want to attack. He's going to want to get forward. He's going to want to take risks. He'll give up goals. It's going to happen. You just gotta have to roll with it, because you're going to get exposed at times. You never bat 1,000 in any sport. You don't. You don't throw a perfect game every time out.
What?
So as you get bodies forward, like, you're going to have some stupid turnover that leads to, like, a 3-on-3 transition or a 4-on-3 transition. You're going to give up goals that suck, and they're going to make you angry. It's just part of the game. Hell, man, I watched because I shared it with you, John. The goal Rangers gave up to Man U in, like, the 93rd minute yesterday.
Oh my God!
Where, like, Rangers are hanging on for a draw at Trafford, and, like, it's like 2 minutes left in stoppage time. John, what did they do?
I think the answer is really nothing.
Yeah, correct. They just sat, like, they were in a bunker.
They put there.
They put, like, negative pressure. They just got into a deeper and deeper bunker, and they put zero pressure. In fact, negative pressure on the ball, and let Man U, like, work the ball on a throw-in, unpressured throw-in. Worked it right to left. Like, not only did they not step out, they, like, stepped back. They did the opposite of stepping out, and ended up giving up a clean look for a cross and then a one-time finish. So like, you're going to give up stupid goals like that even when you sit. But my point being, Atlanta's going to get forward. They're going to take risks. Early on in the season, I wouldn't be surprised if we see situations that are frustrating. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them tomorrow. Stuff that just kind of pisses you off because it's imperfect and you're installing something new. But I agree with Tom. Like, I want to see how it looks. I want to see how they fight. I want to see how combative they get, because I think this is something that Ronnie Dyla's talked about, is want to be more combative. Yeah. And you want to get some a-holes in there and find that inner jerk in some of your guys. It doesn't mean everybody has to go in there and go full Philly. But I think you want to find that combativeness, that you want to make something of it. Let's go kind of guys. But tactically, don't really know what to expect, just because you're installing something new. It's going to be imperfect. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying before you came.
Jesus.
No. No.
I am sorry. I am sorry, Rich. I will say sorry, Rich, because Philadelphia. Like, look, man, I am one of the first in line to slander Philadelphia sports in general. My sympathies do go to Union fans, because their ownership basically just presided over this amazing time. They had a heartbreaking loss in the Cup when it was there, and Gareth Bale, like, dragged himself away from the 12th green long enough to break their hearts. Yeah, that sucks. Philadelphia Union ownership did nothing to make it to, like, keep chasing that. They just were like, what if we just keep running this back? We're not going to change the oil in this 4Runner because it's a 4Runner. It's fine, right? We don't have to change the oil. Yeah, man, they just chose not to change the oil in it, and then they had to go get a new engine and a new manager. And I do feel bad for Philadelphia Union fans, because of an ownership who doesn't seem to give a damn.
Yeah.
And who seems to have put all the blame on the manager. And does he deserve some of it? Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Does he deserve all of it? Not a single damn bit.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got Bradley Carnell, who is now in charge in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Red Bulls. You had a Red Bulls coach go to all caps and kind of do Red Bulls light. Did well in year number 1, first time through the batting order. Second time through the batting order, the front office freaks out and lets Carnell go after a bad start. And it was a bad start. And now Philly wants to look at a coach that had Red Bulls light as a part of his philosophy and bring that in to be in Philly here in 2025. The Palace intrigue for me in Philly is very high.
It is, because they're still running back a lot of pieces. Not all of it. Like Flock has left recently, if I'm not mistaken. Like they did change up some pieces. Did they change up enough? I don't know. Let's see. Bradley Carnell is just rolling into another situation that may or may not spend money that he needs, because St. Louis didn't spend a ton of money that he needed. So, yeah. No, Michael. From my last I saw, Curtin is not taking another gig right now.
No, he is not employed at the moment.
If I'm not mistaken, he has teenage kids in Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
I would completely understand if, and I don't know this to be the case. This would be a question for the Philadelphia friends among you.
Yes.
I would completely understand if I think he has like older teenage kids, like high school age. I would completely understand if he wanted to not uproot everybody, or did not want to be away for most of a year.
Yeah.
So like, even if they stayed in Philly, so it could be around their lives they've grown up in. If he did not want to either uproot them or leave them there and basically work remote, I would understand that if he decided to just kind of like didn't find a gig that was magical for him and was like, cool, I'm not gonna take a risk in something and just let my kids finish school. That for me, that's a completely understandable and cool thing to do. I'm good with it.
It screams national team gig, basically. If he could get one of those,
I mean,
he'd still have the family in Philly and do his thing, and then you just kind of parachute in, parachute out, and
even if he was like an assistant with the national team, like at some level. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was. I think he was an MLS coach. I'm sure he was compensated efficiently.
Yeah, efficiently. That's a word to use. Yes,
it's Philadelphia. I don't know.
Yes.
I would not be surprised though. Like, if I'm not mistaken, he has teenage kids. I would not be surprised if like he's just doing the dad thing for a bit, and that's completely fine and understandable and respectable.
Yes,
and if that's the case, go for it, man. And then, just when you're ready, look, man. He presided over a really good time in their history. I'm sure there are a number of clubs that would love to talk to him when the time's right.
Yes. Is it time to get you fired up even more so on a Friday?
I don't know. What are you trying to do?
Well, I mean, just it's the latest involving Furuhashi-san and.
Well, he's not. I know he's going to Rennes.
Well, yeah, it's still not officially official.
He got off the. They sent a private plane to Scotland. They took the private plane back to France. I didn't need FlightAware to know that he is going to Rennes. It's fine. 10 million or more. Jota going the other way is where this gets interesting. In a fun little parallel, because for those of you playing the home game, Jota is a different Jota. There's multiple Jotas.
Yes.
Portuguese winger Jota was at Celtic. He left because one of the Saudi clubs came and offered Celtic like north of 20 million for him, like way above his value. Very good player. I think he was 23 or 24 at the time. Double-digit goals and assists kind of guy on the wing. Saudi club comes and offers a ton of money. They're like, yeah, we're taking that money if he wants to go, and he wanted to go. Didn't even get registered, I don't think, with the club.
No,
in the Middle East.
No.
So he just kind of bounced around and wandered around, not playing and losing development over the last few years. Well, now he was at Rennes, and it sounds like these deals are not tied together; they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like they're going to be passing each other like ships in the night. That Kyogo Furuhashi is going to go to Rennes, and Jota is going to go back to Celtic. And I think a little bit of money is going to go back to Celtic as well and all this. So I think Celtic's going to make money on it. But they're kind of doing a roundabout Almiron. Atlanta's doing like Atlanta sold Almiron for 20+ million, for 18+ million, excuse me. And are getting him back for less. Celtic sold Jota for north of 20 million, and they're going to get him back for less. And just bring him back home. But they need winger help as well, because their wingers are either dead or old. Man, look, James Forrest has been playing at Celtic since like Bobby Thompson was getting concussed and killed on the field in the 1920s. I feel like James Forrest has been there that long. Like he was, I think he was on the red carpet when Gone with the Wind was released.
Yeah, so he was at the Lowe's Grand.
Yeah, he's been there about that long. But I know Kyogo Furuhashi's going over there, and I remain upset about it because I'd hoped that would not happen because it's gotten quiet on the ELL front.
Yeah, and we got into that this morning a bit. Michael Carrick had his press conference, and our friends at Teesside Live. Carrick basically wants to get something done sooner rather than later.
Yes.
And
well, they need to bring dudes in if they're going to do it.
And they are. Looks like Morgan Whitaker from Plymouth Argyle is in he's in taking a medical this morning, according to Ben Jacobs, and it looks like it's 6+2 to bring Whitaker up from Plymouth Argyle, who's at the basement of the championship, to have him go into a promotion fight. So 6+2 to get Whitaker out of Plymouth Argyle having a medical, and so now you look at and Ricky was doing the schedule math. Borough has the one match this weekend before February 3rd, and that's the end of the window. So literally it's one match left this weekend. So it may be that the Latte Loft deal at 18+2 might get done before the Almiron deal because Newcastle has more matches and they might need Miggy around to help out with game day 18s and such. And that 18+2 will help defray the cost of the 6+2 that they got to get Whitaker on the books with the medical at Middlesbrough. So that's kind of, I think, where the puzzle pieces are this morning.
It sounds like the Almiron deal is all but done. Like everything's been agreed to on the club side of things, and he was already open to the move. I think the last I saw, John, was that Atlanta was like, and this is hearsay, that Atlanta was open to him staying through the end of the window because he can't do anything here anyway. Even if he came here, he can't formally join and do anything.
Right, until the 31st, yeah.
Yes. That he would stay through the window, which is it's one of those little things, but I think also it doesn't hurt you because he can't do anything, and it makes you look good for not ripping him away just to come sit in a room. The Latte Law one, I will tell you, man, I'm increasingly nervous about it. Not pessimistic, but nervous that they're going to try and drag this to the 11th hour to try and get more Premier League teams involved. And if they don't get the offers they want, are they going to try and sit on him for another window? Because he did that last year. He did that in the summer.
Yeah, trying to get the deal squared away with Ipswich, and it didn't work then.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, he was like, "Yeah, let's do this." So I think so. I know Atlanta was also now Ward said no to coming here, which fine. I'm good with that. I have I'm not losing sleep over that.
Yeah.
Atlanta's gonna have more irons in the fire because they need to bring in a striker.
Yeah,
we may not have heard about the irons in the fire, but they're going to have more irons in the fire. The thing that has me curious, I should say, about the Kyogo Furuhashi one with him going to Rennes, I will say is that Celtic has one last Champions League match. They're looking at knockout round games. Like,
right.
They've like the hater. Hi, I'm the hater. The Brendan Rodgers hater. Hit me. who has never liked Brendan Rodgers' approach to European games, is absolutely in hell right now because they managed to do it. They got an own goal against Young Boys to just rip away that to get a win. They had 3 goals called off the board correctly and missed a penalty and had another penalty shout denied. And it took like an own goal for them to just drag that carcass across the line. But I thought he would stay. If he was going to move, I thought he would stay through next week.
Yeah.
Because they had one more Champions League game. The fact that he is gone now, it sounds like he might be in the 18 for Rennes this weekend. Color me curious. Like, what's going on? What you doing over there? What you doing over there, Celtic, with Kyogo? Was he that anxious to leave?
Well,
was Rennes that hard up to get someone in right now? That like, what's the deal here?
I mean, I was going over the standings, and Rennes in a relegation fight, and they're ahead on goal difference, and they're out of the relegation zone on goal. Sorry, the playoff / relegation zone. They're out on goal difference right now. Celtic in Champions League is safe. They are into the final 24. They are 18th, and they have 12 points. The folks that are out right now at 8 points, at 25 and 26, can do no better than 11 points. And the teams 25 and 26, just so folks know, Dinamo Zagreb's at 26. Manchester City is at 25. So Manchester City needs a win and probably some help. And there are some matchups that are on match day 8 that will, probably help them out. But Manchester City, first off, has to take care of business. But right now, Celtic is at 12 points. They cannot be touched. They can't. So 8 points, you win, you get 3, you're at 11. You still ain't touching Celtic at 18. So Celtic didn't necessarily need Furuhashi-san for that last match for match day 8 in Champions League in addition to league play. So there might have been some wiggle room there. Are you serious? Is Tom?
Tom, I just saw that.
Is Tom seriously? Is that like legit?
That's real. Pete Carroll to the Raiders, baby.
I
was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday who used to work in media. Who's like, he's like, man, is Pete Carroll just going to be Bill Belichick this year, where we just float his name for every conceivable job just because it's popular to do? And I'm like, it's possible. It would be very funny. Nah, the Raiders wouldn't pull the damn trigger.
That sounds so Raiders.
Well, I mean, Tom Brady's in charge of a lot of things there now, so there's that.
True, and the Jags are expected to hire Tampa Bay OC Liam Cohen as head coach. So
the Jags need to be like relocated and just restarted and just start a new franchise.
Can you unplug the Jags and plug them back in?
Yeah, you need to hard boot the Jaguars franchise. Like, we need to take it apart. We need a new battery. We need a new motherboard. Like just take the Jaguars, move them to London, and then like find somebody who wants to start an NFL franchise. Like, I don't know, like Mark Cuban or somebody with more money and sense. Let him start a franchise. Let him put it in Jacksonville because they're already building a new stadium. But like, just restart a Jacksonville franchise. I don't know, man.
Legitimately, so
Pete Carroll. Let's get stupid.
I mean, Ricky. Yeah, I mean, the London Black Knights. I mean, Bill Foley might get a little mad. He might have to work that one out a little bit. But if you get Foley to buy a club, if Foley buys the Jags and Shad Khan, then Black Knights would work. I think that if Shad Khan tries to go Black Knights, Bill Foley might have an issue. 3 years, a 4th-year team option. So Pete Carroll is going. Sure, why not? Yeah, what the hell?
Whatever. That's where we're at, man.
Oh my God!
Yay! Let's get stupid.
I mean,
we are getting stupid.
Legitimately.
This is where we're at. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing that's happening.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry, I just derailed everything with that. Although Tom helped me.
But I mean, look. When has this show ever not been derailable and we'll go down rabbit holes and it doesn't matter? I mean, couple of things going on in Major League Soccer. Our buddy Timu Pukki is gone. Timu Pukki
I thought they were going to tell me he was going somewhere else.
no,
I knew Minnesota exiled him.
yeah, and now it is officially official. HJK Helsinki is Timu Pukki's destination. So HJK Helsinki. So Timu Pukki goes home, and that's not necessarily a surprise of surprises there. But Timu Pukki, who had been under Eric Ramsey, had been kind of shown the bench because he wasn't young, he wasn't mobile, and he wasn't.
We knew that. I knew that when they signed him.
Well, yeah, we all did.
But I will say they got goals out of him.
Yes, no doubt.
Let me be clear. This is not a Demidov situation where he was an abomination. No, this was not like a Demidov where, again, Miguel and Joseph retired that man game 2 of the season.
League MVP, Vadim Demidov.
This was like they got goals out of Timu Pukki. Let's check.
Absolutely did.
Let's see, how many goals did Timu Pukki have? Let's find out as we do the live search.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with it. So while you're doing the live search, our friend Laurel Failer up at Cincinnati.
10 goals in 2023.
Yeah.
And then 4 goals last year in 21 matches. Like, it's not perfect. You wanted more, but it wasn't like he gave you double-digit goals in less than a full season in 2023.
Yeah.
And 2024 just might have been. It was like it might have been kind of the beginning of the sun. He started to sunset a bit.
Yeah.
And that's okay. He's put up goals in his career, so
yes.
But yeah, man,
absolutely crushed it in his time at Norwich in the championship and helped them out in the Premier
Good
League.
at Schalke when he was young. He failed at Celtic, went down to Norwich, had a great time.
Yep. So
I don't begrudge him his career at all.
No. So Timu Pukki heads home. Laurel Failer, our friend up at Cincinnati at Queen City Press, league sources confirm the club is finalizing a loan to acquire left wingback Lucas Engel from Middlesbrough through the end of the 25 season with an undisclosed purchase option. FCC is also in advanced talks to acquire 21-year-old center back Gilberto Flores on a permanent transfer from Club Libertad in Paraguay. Dominic Shaw of the Northern Echo first reported the loan for Engel. Multiple outlets in Paraguay have reported the negotiation for Flores. Engel, a 26-year-old native of Denmark, fills the biggest hole remaining on FCC's roster following the departure of Yamil Assad and the expected move to play Luca Orejano in the front three. That is, of course, if Luca Orejano wants to come back and does come back. Cincinnati had been close to signing him on a permanent before he went to Middlesbrough from Denmark's Silkeborg IF in August of 23. Spent the first 6+ years of his career in Denmark, 53 matches across all comps, Middlesbrough, and seeing bench minutes, not only appearing in the squad for most of September, October, November, and December. 3-year contract, putting him on a U22. Libertad president Ruben de Torre and Trinidense manager Jose Arrua, whose club had Flores on loan in 24, both spoke about the potential move in various interviews. Flores came up through the Libertad's youth system, spent time with Paraguayans U23, previously the U20s, also on the Olympic squad, 4 appearances in France last summer. So that's from Laurel Failer up at Queen City Press.
I don't care anymore. I missed most of that because apparently God, who is this? Grader's Ice Cream.
Yeah.
Is releasing a Skyline chili flavored
no.
ice cream.
No.
It's called Skyline Spice with oyster crackers.
Oh, no. No. Chicago Fire, thank you, Tom, have acquired midfielder Romaniga Kwame on loan from La Liga dos side Cadiz for the 25 season with an option for purchase. So Romaniga Kwame on loan, a midfielder. So yeah, we'll get into that in a second. I mean, yeah, we will. We'll get into it. Trust me. Kwame, after I clicked through all of the pop-up windows, about 50% off season tickets for the Chicago Fire. Romani Kwame on loan from Cadiz for the 25 season, option to purchase, occupying an international slot pending receipt of the P1B and the ITC. Additional terms not disclosed. Berhalter, quote, brings another dimension to our midfield, strengthens the team in a key area. Qualities and experience competing in elite European leagues like La Liga and Ligue 1. Confident he'll make an immediate impact, help us achieve our goals. Kouame had a sentence. He's 28, 218 matches, various comps, Africa, Europe, Ligue 1, La Liga, Belgian Pro. Began his career in 2014 at AS Real Bamako in the Malian First Division before moving to Europe in 2016. Lille, Paris FC, Troyes, going on loan to Cercle Bruges, over 100 matches at Troyes, 66 in Ligue 1. So an Ivorian, dual citizenship, Ivorian and Malian, last club Cadiz coming in. So Kouame helping out the midfield for Chicago Fire. So that is a loan happening this morning. So what is Tom Bogert discussing? What does Tommy Scoops have on the table this morning? As Tom has, let's see, Gavin Turner, U.S. Youth International midfielder, visiting and training Crystal Palace. Spent time with West Ham, invited by PSV in Stuttgart, has a UK passport. DC United's academy. DC is still interested in a homegrown deal. Vancouver signed Canadian attacker Jaden Nelson from Roseborg. Manuel Veth is always good with those. 5 caps with Canada. Broke through with Toronto FC before heading to Europe, joining the team in preseason some point over the next week. And we mentioned Lucas Engel and that move. And I'm going back over the last hour, Gilberto Flores. Purple team now focusing on other targets as Marco Pasalic is still undecided about his future. Right now playing at HNK Rijeka. So Orlando doesn't want to wait, focusing on other targets. Let's see. Anybody else? Portland agreed to a deal late last night for Colombian left back Jimer Fori from Independiente Medellin, 22. He's already got 128 apps in his career between Independiente Medellin, Atlético Nacional, Deportivo Pereira, 2 Colombian league titles. And no, we do not have a Mosquera update with anything involving Atlético Nacional. And that freaking, oh, that's gross.
The ice cream?
That is gross.
The ice cream?
Yes, that is gross.
Yes.
That is absolutely gross. Oh, my God. That is just, I mean, look.
Someone's going to eat that at a Cincinnati game. It's going to get posted on Footy Scram, and we're going to have to, someone's going to have to explain Skyline Chili to Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know whose job that's going to be. But we're going to have to be careful in how we do it because we need someone to do it in the most unhinged way possible.
Well, then we should just do it here on this show.
There's people better than because I am not a proponent of Skyline Chili. I almost need someone. I need a neutral party to do it. I don't know who that's going to be.
Yes, Ricky.
Yeah, the hockey puck on bread.
The alleged Philly cheesesteak on Footy Scran that was posted, I want to say, from the English football pyramid, and I want to say it was one of the I think it was one of the Sheffields that posted it.
Look, England, let's have a talk real quick. Let's just have a heart to heart. When it comes to Scran, you're not gonna win most of these. You have a niche. And that niche is stealing spices from lands you formerly conquered but no longer rule, but still impact in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is making like glorified KFC famous bowls. Just throwing stuff into a bowl, hitting the blend button, throwing some curry on it, and going to town.
Oh my God,
that's okay.
That's so bad.
Lean into your strengths here.
Is so bad.
Like, you know what you do. Like, Sam Kinison never got up there and tried to hit a watermelon with a sledgehammer because it wasn't what he did best.
That wasn't his shtick. No.
Your shtick is basically making a KFC famous bowl that drives on the other side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
just do that and just leave it alone. Because part of me is terrified, John, that if we took Skyline Chili to England,
Oh my
they
God.
might be okay with it.
Yeah. Okay, so full disclosure. I go to Steak and Shake, and I will have, usually it's the one on Walnut Ave in Dalton. I will have the chili three-way. And that is basically, probably Skyline Chili Light, because it's got other things in it and things like that. So it has been probably decades since I have sampled Skyline Chili. And no, I'm not, and as much as everybody knows me, I am not the individual that will go to the grocery store, get the Skyline Chili in a can, and take it home. I'm not that person. I will, I'll be in Cincinnati, and then I'll get Skyline Chili just because, hey, it's here. I go to Steak and Shake and get the chili three-way. So that's kind of their version of it, and that's about the end of it. The footy scran. I'm going to go back. So I think legitimately, Jared, I think what you should do is take the ice cream and post it to footy scran.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you.
Okay, good.
We're getting. Well, first off, we need to wait for it to be eaten in an FCC match.
Yeah, and
that's how we got to make it official. I'm not going to try and shoehorn this in again. I'm not going to bend the rules. I'm going to wait for the proper moment.
Yeah, see, and I was wondering if you wait until it actually is being consumed at TQL before you actually post it to Footy Scran, or do you do a preemptive to Footy Scran saying, hey, this is coming, and then you have all of the world outrage and headed toward Cincinnati for this abomination of a food idea? I mean, just no. I mean, I'll get the white. I mean, I'm debating getting the White Castles that are frozen and getting those and putting them in the microwave if I'm really in the mood. But honestly, I just go to Murfreesboro, Tennessee on my way to Nashville to get it. Or in Nashville itself.
Steak and Shake is not like Skyline Chili.
No.
It's like, have you had Skyline? Well, I've had Burt's Chili at Wahoo. That's not the same thing, brother.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it is, there are different things in the chili three-way that set it apart from Skyline because they have the sauce, they have beans, they have the other things. So it's like there are other things in the chili three-way that set it apart. So it kind of it's like a cousin to Skyline Chili. That's about as far as I go. And like I said, it's been decades since I've been to have enough time in Cincinnati to eat, and B, have time enough to eat and eat Skyline Chili. So, the Footy Scran, and I'm staring at it again. It looks like they just basically took Steak-'em and went off. That's what that looks like. The Philly cheesesteak at Sheffield Wednesday. It literally looks like they took Steak-'em and they didn't even do it right because the slabs aren't even uniform, and the cheese looks like it might be like you took the cheese grater and you put it on slice, and you didn't even do like a full slice of alleged cheese, because I don't even know what variety of cheese that is.
The meat looks like, I don't know, John, if you've ever seen the movie Snowpiercer, the show, the Chris Evans movie.
No, I have not. No,
from back in the day.
Yeah, no.
The meat looks like the little protein gelatin bricks, the protein bricks that they feed the people at the back of the train.
Okay.
It's not a compliment.
No, I would imagine not.
Yeah, man, this thing has like elementary school mystery meat written all over it.
Yeah,
and to Tom's point, yeah, like I don't imagine that cheesesteaks are a thing in England. Although to further his point, I have long been a proponent of opening up a Waffle House in Scotland, not England. We're going north of the wall for this, to the land of deep frying. But I have long been a proponent of somebody needs to open a Waffle House in Scotland.
Oh.
This is the only people who can compete with the southern United States when it comes to deep frying everything in existence and solving their problems with more grease.
Yes.
Anything to stay warm during the harsh winters.
And road issues, and I mean, it could be completely and totally universal. Bart has a great point. You mentioned Waffle House. Bart says we need to send the visiting Brits to the varsity. So for Club World Cup, everybody needs to go to the varsity.
So last week was it the college football, the people who run the college football subreddit, the CFB Reddit, went to the varsity and basically said, like, we went here, this was terrible, shout out to the haters, they were correct, this place is awful.
Yeah, well,
and again, like the John, you and I both know the varsity serves its purpose.
Yeah.
And it's get yourself a frozen orange, some onion rings, and just call it a day.
Yeah.
Don't go too deep into the tides here.
No. By the way, on Footy Scran,
yes,
the pepperoni pizza started out well at Blackburn Rovers. Pepperoni, hot honey, and chili flakes. The pepperoni, I'm like, okay.
I'm not mad at that, actually. I've had pepperoni pizza with like hot honey drizzle.
Okay.
It is not. It might sound weird on the surface. It is not bad.
Okay. Well,
it's a nice little kit, especially if you get if you really want spice and you put the spicy pepperoni on it. Yeah, I'm about that life. I'm good with it.
Well, and then at the top of the order, their most recent posting, Torquay United, who I think is in the National League. I think they're in the fourth or fifth tier. Double cheeseburger with sausage and bacon. That to me actually looks amazing. That looks actually pretty good. If they do it right.
Yeah, all of you love hot honey pizza, and I'm so happy.
Okay.
So many of you are speaking up in favor of this, and it makes me happy to hear. It's a fan. If you haven't done hot honey, John, I don't know.
No.
Okay. I don't know how much spice you're comfortable with.
Pepperoni.
It's not like super, super spicy.
Okay, because pepperoni's about it for me. And if I go pepperoni and sausage and maybe do a meat lovers, that's about it.
Yeah, like the hot honey will give it a little bit of kick.
Yeah.
It won't overpower it. And it's a good balance because you get a good hot honey. It's not going to be hot in a way that ruins the taste, which is always kind of my complaint with like hot sauces and whatnot. I want to be able to actually taste the peppers and not hot for the sake of hot.
Yeah.
So yeah, the hot honey is really good. I highly recommend it, actually.
Okay, because I mean there was a former coworker who did the ham and pineapple pizza.
Oh, I had that growing up all the time. I still like Hawaiian pizzas because, and I have a reason for this, and it maybe not a great reason, but like as a kid growing up, that's what my mom and I would get like on some Friday nights. Like I have very vivid memories of like, it's a Friday night, single mom doesn't feel like doing the whole cooking thing, which is understandable. And like 8 or 9 year old me, we would like go get a pizza. Mm-hmm. It would be a Hawaiian pizza, and it was like really good. It would be like, well, you get that, a 2 liter of root beer, and it came with a pint of Ben & Jerry's. Okay. So like in my brain, pineapple on pizza will always be okay just for the nostalgia of it all.
Okay.
I will understand that other people don't go with that. That's okay.
Yeah.
Totally okay.
Yeah, it's one of those. Ricky, fan of hot honey on a pizza. Also, Abby says son puts the hot honey drizzle on lots of food. Bart, hot honey pizza's elite. And Ricky says a hot honey pepperoni flatbread at Topgolf. Okay. All right. So
know what I'm getting next time we go to Topgolf.
Yeah, I know. Really.
We're actually due to go to Topgolf again at some point, just because I need you and Jason to get mad at the way I swing a golf club.
Dude, I don't get mad at how you swing a golf club. I don't, because look, when I covered golf on a regular basis, the senior tour had Tom Wargo as one of the best golfers on the senior tour. Tom Wargo grew up playing hockey north of the Mason-Dixon line. So literally his golf swing was a slap shot. And he was successful in his time as a super senior on the US senior tour. So look, Jim Furyk can have a backswing, and he can have a Footy Scran sandwich in Sheffield Wednesday and the bacon and sausage double cheeseburger from Torquay United at the top of his backswing take all day, and then finally come through and make contact. Everybody's swing is different. I am not going here to say that any swing is correct.
Well, you saw the video I posted not too long ago about bowling, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Like almost like where I came within a hair of almost hitting the TV.
Well, it's because you're 9 feet tall, sir.
And I have a backswing. Same thing with golf. Like when we go to Top Golf, there's that line on the ground that you have to stand behind for safety.
Good luck.
That line is not. You need to stand in that line and take another step back.
Mm-hmm.
Because I already stand kind of open when I swing a club.
And you have a wingspan, sir.
Yeah. So everything's going to come straight back.
Yep. Portland has received $200,000 in GAM from Messi and Friends. Portland trades an international roster slot for that $200,000 in GAM from Messi and Friends for the 2025 season. So literally, it is a shifting of deck chairs, $200,000 in 2025 GAM for Messi and Friends in exchange for an international roster slot. So, what's it worth to you? So we'll find out what's up with that. Forster Ujago goes from Nashville to RSL. Zan Kolmanic is available for another season. He adds another year on his contract with Austin FC. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that is in the works. Jamaican international Kevon Lambert is on loan from RSL to Lou City. That is for this upcoming season. Spent the 24 season on loan at San Antonio, left Phoenix in 23 as the club's all-time appearance leader. Let's see. Tormenta has signed Jonathan Nianjo. So for those that know about Nianjo's history, went to UNC Charlotte, did well, was a semifinalist for the Mac Herman Trophy, went to Charlotte Independence in 21, signed his first professional contract with Crown Legacy. Rookie season, 3+1 in 27 appearances. And so now he goes from Crown Legacy to Ian Cameron and South Georgia Tormenta. And so once again, as a part of our tour and catching up with everybody in the footprint, we got to find out what's going on at all the training camps. But that was named yesterday as well. Galaxy re-signed Eric Zavaleta and signed defender Asel Asenge. Asenge, a 2-year deal through 26, club options through 28. Zavaleta, a 1-year deal through the 25 season. And Asenge joins after recording 3 goals in 72 appearances for Los Dos. So that was an official signing for them as well going forward. So let me do gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and then we will get out of here. And thanks to everybody for going sideways with us. I know that shocks none of you that we go sideways and talk about.
United 2 made some signings.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Who? Tell me who. Tell me more. Was there love at first sight?
Jesus Christ. Yay. So, Lane United 2 has announced 7 new signings for the 2025 MLS Next Pro season. Yeah. Ryan Carmichael, 23-year-old, spent last season Inter Miami CF2, Northern Ireland.
I remember Ryan Carmichael being a pain for Messi and Friends, too.
6 assists last year. Former first-round pick out of Hofstra. Patrick Weah.
He had been posting things to his IG, Insta, and or Gram that had changed his location, and he had a picture of wearing the gear recently.
Yeah, Moises Tablante.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, Orlando City B.
Okay.
6 goals, 6 assists. The club's first season in MLS Next Pro.
Yep.
Let's see, Salvatore Mazzaferro.
Oh yeah, well, Nick will have fun with that one.
Yeah, Canadian center back was at Austin FC2.
Los Verdos, okay.
Yeah. As well as Toda Majub, joins from Amusi Football Club in Uganda.
Oh wow.
So representing Uganda U20 national team.
Okay.
And then you had striker Arif Kovac, who came from St. Louis. That was last summer. He signed basically a free contract, and Santiago Pita joined from Weston FC.
Santi Pita, St. Louis Scott Gallagher SC.
Yep.
And
I was getting there.
Yeah, Santi Pita. We've seen him with U18s on the broadcast so far this year. So 7 signings, couple of familiar names for those of you that are MLS Next Pro sickos. For Ryan Carmichael coming from Messi and Friends 2, and Moises Tablante, who's coming from OCB. So a couple of familiar names in there, and Santi Pita, who we've seen in the U18. So nicely done, having you knock that out in a hurry.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yes, exactly. So let me go through the gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and we can see what it's looking like. And what is this? Stop, people. I mean, it's like literally, it's like choose an account to log into. It's me. Nothing has changed, people. All right. So, Ben Jacobs. Here we go. Well, I already got Bogert. So let me do Ben Jacobs and do the tour internationally before we get out of here. And we can lay everything out for yet another day. Tim Steiton's leaving West Ham. Graham Potter's bringing in his own folks. Kyle McCauley looks like he's going to fill that in. Manchester United's improved their offer for Dorgu to be north of €30 million. Parties have a $5 million difference in valuation. And Manchester United's still optimistic despite Lecce's starting price of 40. Manchester United's optimistic of agreeing to a deal. Al Nasser. Yeah, go for it.
No, I was going to answer Ricky's question just in case. I know we're at the end of the show. Some people might have to leave because they have lives.
Yes.
Hibbert's probably going to be with Suze most of the year, yes. Unless something weird happens with Cohen or Zucan. Jesus Christ. Guzan. Unless something weird happens with one of them, expect Hibbert with the twos and expect him to get the lion's share of the minutes. If he takes another big jump, we're going to have a conversation. A really interesting conversation because his ceiling is stupid right now.
That is true. Al Nasser preparing a bid for Jean Duran, according to Mike McGrath and Ben Jacobs. Nasser keen to try for Duran, even though Villa don't want to sell. And Duran only signed a new deal recently. It's going to take $100 million. Remember that also it appears that Vinicius Jr. is being courted by the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote for the tune of €350 million, and no one seems to be blinking on that number. Anthony's been given permission to travel for his Real Betis medical ahead of a straight loan. Looks like Betis is going to pay 5/6 of the salary plus potential bonuses on top. So good piece of business for Manchester United. That scream of glee you heard was our Drew Dickinson. Renato Vega joining Juve on loan. Verbally agreed, not signed yet, expected to be completed without issue. And Arteta confirms Arsenal not considering terminating the loans of Raheem Sterling or Neto this month. Sterling's can't be broken in January since there is no recall clause. We mentioned the Morgan Whitaker news. Let me see if there is anything else involving Morgan Whitaker and moving to Middlesbrough, where he was having the medical. So nothing as of latest. And so the latest was 6+2. And it looks like that was the latest. So the latest thing that we had was Whitaker taking a medical to join Middlesbrough. So keep an eye on that going forward. All right, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. So we'll keep an eye on everything that is going on here. Now, before Jarrett has any other final thoughts and we promote anything that left.
Abby, I'm okay. I'm just stumbling over my words because it's the end of the week and my brain is fried.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean
I'm good. My brain's just absolutely fried, and I'm also doing 3 things at once.
Yes, you're co-hosting a show, and you're doing.
I wouldn't call it co-hosting. It's more of derailing.
Well, but dude, I mean, there's nothing wrong with derailing. I mean, that's kind of where we are here. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. All right. Ligue 1, BN and BN in Espanol 245, all share on Saint Etienne. You can watch that on BN. If you don't have BN, you can get BN on Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps them out at Fanatis, helps us out here at SDH. You get all the BN, CDO, Nuestra Tele for the fans, Liga 1 Max, Liga 1 Max Pro, and our buddy Nino Torres at Gold TV as he takes you through everything going on in South America and in Europe. CBS Sports Network, Sheffield United, Hull City's at 3. BN en Español simulcasting Ligue 1. La Liga on Fox Deportes at 3 o'clock, Las Palmas and Osasuna. Double header tonight in Liga MX on 2 to NA. Atletico San Luis Necaxa, followed by Tijuana and Querétaro. On the plus, Bundesliga, Wolfsburg and Holstein Kiel at 2:20, simulcasting the La Liga match with Las Palmas and Osasuna. Fox Soccer Plus, women's Serie A Femenina, 12:30, Juve and Inter on Paramount Plus, in addition to Sheffield United, Hull City, Torino, and Cagliari is at 2:45. And then Saturday, you got Ligue 1, you got Ligue 2, you've got Serie A, you got the Premier League, you got La Liga, you got Serie A, you got friendlies on Gold TV, the Portuguese Premier with the heavyweights. From our discussion with Nino Torres, you've got La Liga, triple header on 2 to NA on I forgot what they called it. Oh crap, the big Saturday. Sábado Gigante, but not that. It was what they call they had something else for it. Anyway, Universo's got the Premier League, Liga MX. Univision is simulcasting a triple header. ESPN Plus, the Eredivisie, Women's Super League, Bundesliga, Bundesliga B, La Liga 2. Fox Soccer Plus, Italian Serie A Femenina, English Championship, Serie A, NBC simulcasting the Premier League. Paramount Plus has 7 matches in the championship, 3 in Serie A. Peacock simulcasting everything in the Premier League, and at Liga MX, Chivas and Tigres at 8 o'clock. Last words from you in a week.
Well, Ricky has asked for his conference championship picks for the NFL.
Okay.
I'm going to take Chiefs and Redskins.
Okay, you're going with the hot team in the NFC. So I'll go Chiefs and Eagles, and I'll go chalk.
Give me the Dan. I was going to say Jay Daniels. Give me the Dan Quinn redemption line here.
Okay, all right. I see where you
also,
go.
Brian Kelly will never see the gates of heaven for having. There are 5 candidates for Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. 3 of them were on LSU last year.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even make the playoff. One of them was the Heisman winner, and is in this game. 3 of the Rookie of the Year candidates played at LSU, and he could not be asked to field a competent defensive coordinator and defense.
Yeah,
even a passable defense, and that team's in the playoff. Jay Daniels is burning things down.
Yeah,
it's kind of like he is now. I'm going to ride the hot hand with the Commies as kind of a team of destiny kind of thing. I don't think they're better than the Eagles. I also am a firm believer that Nick Sirianni, the Eagles win in spite of Nick Sirianni a lot of times. I don't think he's a great coach. I think that the Eagles have put together a beautiful roster, though. And Nick Sirianni can get them up to playing a game. He can get them in the mood to play and get them up for it. I don't like him in the game itself. I don't think he's a great in-game coach, but that's okay. I'm not getting paid. He is, so really he wins.
Yep.
I think had it not been snowing, I don't think they win that game last week if it's not a damn blizzard as that game goes on. Give me Washington in the hot hand.
Okay.
And the Chiefs chalk, man. I don't know your logic on all this, John. Mahomes just feels inevitable.
Yeah.
Although I'm a firm believer at this point, after everyone who hasn't turned on him last week with all the flopping. Mm-hmm. At some point, someone is going to try and separate his soul from his body and take the 15 yards.
Yeah.
Because they're going to start dinging everyone 15 yards for breathing on him funny.
Yeah.
Someone eventually is going to say, I'm going to get penalized anyway. I might as well introduce him to the Grim Reaper.
Somebody's going to do the Jim McMahon slam job on the artificial surface at Soldier Field.
One of the most brutal hits I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Somebody's going to do that. So
I'm with you, Tom. Daniels, Hurts needs to be better.
Yeah, he does. There have been times where I think they've relied on Saquon a little too much, and if you stop the run,
it can still work though. He's amazing.
You let him get his, but you keep Jalen Hurts from hurting you. So that means keeping contain off the edges, keeping him in the pocket, and forcing him to complete a pass under pressure. That's going to be the biggest thing for me when it comes to Philadelphia. When it comes to Kansas City just seems to be an inevitability. And it's there. Look, much like shingles and Vegas juice box numbers, the Chiefs don't care. Chiefs don't care.
I know.
End of the day, they get one more point than the other guy. They don't care. I think they had 12 in a row where they didn't cover, and everybody's sitting there going, "Gee, the Chiefs don't cover." Yeah, they don't.
We know.
But don't bet them to win by double digits.
To Tom's point, like I have beef with Fields as like a quarterback. Honestly, Washington's only hope might be to just your hope might be, what if we let Saquon run so much he gets tired?
Hey, good luck on that.
That might be your best hope. My issue with Sirianni is in games. It is in the game itself. I think he gets them ready to play. I think he's great at that. I think kind of like Dan Quinn at times, which is why it's funny that they're coaching against each other. I think both of them in the middle of the game really could use someone whose sole job it is to stand next to them and tell them to make the right decision in that moment.
Take them out.
They don't always do that.
Take him out. Exactly. So, reminder once again.
Giants fans have to be in hell.
I know, they do.
Every day of their lives.
Well, and especially looking at Hard Knocks
and
watching that and seeing the front office and the staff decide, nah, we're not going to keep him.
The Eagles getting Saquon is the end result of what I thought was going to happen when the Chiefs got Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
When they drafted him at the end of the first round. Because if you remember that 2019 LSU team, it was Burrow, Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall. It was insane. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a safety valve game-breaking running back.
Yep.
I mean, look, they schemed him open so many times, in the flat, and he was such a great screen receiver and such a great little ran the option route perfectly. I thought, man, you cannot give. When they drafted him, I thought it was oh, the league just let Andy Reid have another Brian Westbrook. That's fun. Now, granted, most of Edwards-Helaire's issues are understandably PTSD related because he has had a very traumatic life. And I hope I think he's in New Orleans now. I hope he's able to get the help he needs, and I hope he's feeling better. But man, what has happened with Saquon and Philly is what I was afraid of when they got. I swore I thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Oh, y'all just gave Andy Reid another Brian Westbrook, who is one of the most underrated running backs of his era. I don't feel like I have to tell Philly fans that, but I'm happy to tell everyone else that Brian Westbrook was an absolute menace to society.
Oh God, absolutely.
Anyway.
Let's see, 3:00 tomorrow afternoon, maybe a little before. Mike and Jason, 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app from Chattanooga, Atlanta United, and Chattanooga FC. Once again, great to catch up with Chris Nugent, the head coach at CFC. When all of this stuff goes onto all of our platforms, go to the first half hour, and you can listen to the interview that we had with Chris 4 months into being the head coach at Chattanooga FC, and he gets Atlanta United. And if he had used the cliche, it would have been $1 in the jar. So he did not. So good work by Chris when it comes to handling Q&A in a long form setting like he did with us. So once again, 3:00, 92.9 The Game, the Odyssey app. Mike and Jason calling Atlanta United, Chattanooga FC. Maddie and I will be up there. Sophia Cupertino will be up there. You can take a peek at everything on all the socials, and you can see what's going on. Full-time report after, I believe it will be on tape. But keep an ear out for the full-time report. It will be Mike, Jason, me, Maddie, and highlights and stuff. So that's the official terms. And then we'll get ready for Birmingham. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but we're actually going to be having another one of our live to-dos in Birmingham after the match next week involving Atlanta and Birmingham Legion. Hopefully this week, maybe we can get Taylor Hodges to come on and join us at some point to break down Birmingham Legion. But as a part of, I'm trying to find the actual notes on it and where we are, where we're going to be, and when we're going to be there. So Where is the official posting? Maybe if I go someplace.
Brandon Vasquez just scored from the spot in a friendly. That's fun. He's going to score 15 goals for Austin.
Yeah, well, and I mean, the amount of money that they're piecing together, that they're throwing at their DPs and everything. So, I mean, it's they ain't messing around, and Rodolfo Borrell is not messing around at all in bringing folks in and trying to make sure that Austin makes it back to the postseason after what did not happen last year. So at Monday Night Social Club, Brewery and Kitchen, target start time, 7:30 Eastern next Saturday. So 8 days, not tomorrow, but week from tomorrow in Birmingham at Monday Night Social Club. Those of us that make the trek from SDH will be there to hang out with all of you. 7:30 Monday Night Social Club, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 14 12th Street South, Birmingham, AL 35233. Well, obviously, we'll be talking more about that as we go, but we will be at Monday Night Social Club for SDH Network live next week after the Atlanta United Birmingham Legion match. And so we may have special friends and things like that, but we're looking forward to being there to hang out there in Birmingham. So last thoughts for you before we get out of here.
Keep everyone safe this weekend. If you're traveling up to Chattanooga or down to Chattanooga, wherever you're going from, be safe. Have fun. Enjoy the restaurants. The aquarium's nice. If it's cold, go inside there. Rock City, if it's very cold and wet, Rock City is a one you want to be careful with because it can get very slippery.
Yes. Just ask the boss about things that are slippery. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
Yes. Okay. So we'll be back at it. So listen tomorrow. We'll have a lot of tape. We'll have a lot of content. We'll do all the things. Back at it again on Monday to talk about it, get you started for another week, getting you ready for Birmingham. So for Jarrett, for Chris Nugent, the head coach at Chattanooga FC, for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by. Play it safe. Mucha plata, y'all. And since it is the end of the week, turn up your volume, folks. Listen to it. And we're out of here. Play it safe. We'll see you on Monday.
The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress